Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Julie. I'm with Finesse Media.
It's nice to meet you too. I'm Ed or Buppy, one of the two.
You prefer to be called Buffy? Buppy, I'll call you Buppy.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. It's a recent thing because back in December I hadn't put a lot out, so it's something I'm kind of getting used to. But yeah, I mean more in social scenes here of getting called Buppy.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the
Yeah.
time to talk to me. I heard your single, Tell Me I'm Sorry, and I tell me you're sorry. My apologies. And I really liked it. So I wanted to reach out to you to see if we could just chat and I could get to know you and things like that. So
Great.
Um, to start off, I always like to ask this question because I get a totally different answer every time I ask it. Is just who are you? Interpret that however you want. Just tell me who you are.
Um, I'm a 17-year-old music maker and human from Los Angeles, California. I'm originally from Park City, Utah. I'm now based in Los Angeles though. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think that bakes me down. Yeah, just a lover of music.
That pretty much narrows it down. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Short and sweet. So tell me, like, who are your influences? Like, what inspires you day to day? Like, what is something you look to that inspires you to create?
Yeah, my influences, I mean, sonically, right now I draw a lot of influence from Dominic Fike and Mac Miller. Um, Rest in peace. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I have a sister who makes music. Her name is Eleanor Kingston. That's a big influence to me. Just every day. We both have individual careers, so it's kind of like you know, kind of moving with each other, and also kind of like a friendly competition. My mom, big inspiration to me throughout my life. And then yeah, I just have a lot of artist friends. I was just in New York recording with a few of them, and just like seeing how they move and seeing how they work and their work ethic, like Haji Gaviota, for instance. Like, yeah, it's very inspiring to me. And yeah, I think that'd be a lot of my inspiration at the moment.
That's sick. I also love Dominic Fike, and I miss Mac Miller so much. He was just like amazing. Like there was no artist like him. Every project was so different than the last. Um,
Yeah, and he started with rap. It's something I can definitely relate to. I was starting with rap music when I first got into it. A lot of that has been taken down since, but yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely a thing I relate to. Kind of the switch he went through.
yeah. And additionally, after listening to a few of your other songs, like I heard is believe it's called Violence. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I listened to that. You and Mac and Dominic, you're sort of artists that like have a story to tell,
yeah,
and that's really cool to see. I love a narrative. I love when on a project it's not just like a group of singles. It's the songs are related to one another in some sort of way.
yeah.
So I thought that that's super dope.
For acknowledging that. Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in the songwriting. I don't produce a lot of my stuff. I work with a guy named Cole or Boya. And yeah, we work closely on most every record. And then I work with a few other producers here and there, but I take a lot of pride like in the writing of things, and making sure, yeah, the story's there. Every line has a purpose. So yeah, I'm glad you recognize that. Thank you.
Of course, of course. What are you listening to like nowadays? Like, is there a certain single you're like, ah, I have this on repeat, or
Yeah,
a
dude.
project?
I run like a little. I just have a little like personal playlist, nothing major, but I keep up with it every week. So right now I'm about to add. There's this guy I just met on a plane actually named Danny Singh. He dropped 21 Love. He's out of Queens, and I like him a lot. And then Hit Me Up by Greek just dropped. That's really good. Um, and then Escalator by Rip Momney was like last week. That was really good. I just have a lot of those. I don't know. I'm kind of being really inspired by this like uh kind of like left of center pop that's like not, right on pop, but kind of exists in that mainstream.
Yeah, I feel you. There's a big surge of alternative pop, like how you're describing.
Yeah,
That is so cool because I like when the genres, can sort of blend and you don't have to stick in, one particular box. You can
yeah,
experiment, and that's I'm sure you can relate to. That's the fun of making music is
yeah.
trying things out and seeing what fits. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I totally understand that. And I've been meaning to ask. I meant to ask this first, but where does your name come from? Is that like a childhood nickname, or
it
tell me the
was
story behind that?
exactly that. It was just a childhood nickname among my friends and some of my other peers. And yeah, I just like kept it. It was at a certain point it was like visionary. And I just changed it to Buppy one day and I'd stuck with it. And yeah, that's where I'm at now. But yeah, it's a childhood nickname. That's how I derived it.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. I like when it you can, bring elements of your childhood into your music, and it helps your fans like feel like they grew up with you instead of, it just helps the familiarity.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't want to take the name too seriously. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, keeping it light, keeping it light.
Hmm.
So I'm curious about like your musical journey. Like tell me about your creative process and your production process, and also can you speak to like your ideal space to create? I ask artists this all the time, like what's your like ideal studio setup? Do you like, quiet? Do you like to have a lot of people in the room? Like rappers love to have, their friends in the room. Tell me about like your ideal space and your process.
Yeah, I mean, as far as getting here, I've been in a lot of different like ideal spaces. Like when I first started making music, it was more in my bedroom, and then by myself, and I would just like get beats off online, and then just go like that. But now, thank God, I found a producer who has a very nice studio in his living room. So we actually just record in his living room, and yeah, generally it's just me or me and my sister, and him. And yeah, I would say that's my like ideal space. I also spent this last weekend in New York recording in a very nice studio called Dimension 70, and that was sick. So I think that's also an ideal space because that was just like all the racks they have and everything. It was crazy. But yeah, I think as far as my creative process goes, it's just a lot of, I think I lay production first. So I just like to find some sort of vibe, some sort of production vibe, and then just kind of write into it. And a lot of times I'll think of a story or think of a memory. There's even been songs where I've referenced like other people's perspectives on things that they've talked to me about. Um, yeah, I like stories and songs. I think when you include like dates and colors of explaining like really just in detail things, I think people attach onto it and kind of see it.
Yeah, it brings some life to it and some realness.
Yeah.
I can totally get with that. That's really interesting because with the type of music that you make, it does seem very collaborative. I'm sure you're a fan of collaborating and
Yeah, yeah, it definitely
working
is.
off of other people's energy. That comes through.
Yeah, and I do record in my room quite often. I have a lot of demos. That's where I do my demos, just in my room. But yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of like recently a lot of collaboration, and there's a lot in the works between a lot of. I mean, the rest of this year I'm gonna drop mainly featured songs or songs that have features on them. So yeah, there's just a lot of cool things in the works I'm excited about. But yeah, I mean, every song has a outside, influence from Cole to Eleanor to me to whoever else.
Yeah, that's super dope. Um, so the next thing I wanted to sort of get to was now that we're coming out of the pandemic, I want to know like how were you during it? How did you market yourself any differently, if at all, during the pandemic? Like how did it sort of change you, and what did you learn?
Yeah, I was making music for the last five. Like I started when I was 12, but I took it seriously like back in May of 2020 is when I dropped like my full first length project like everywhere, which has since gone because I just made some mistakes on like how I put it out, etc. And I just like wanted to rebrand back in like November of last year. So I was sitting there like in the pandemic starting my music stuff. So I mean I wouldn't say much changed more than I just like I relied heavily on like Facebook advertising and advertising of that sort, which everybody did. Like if you went and you looked at it, and yeah, that's kind of like how I got myself through it. But aside from that, I just I planned my stuff out well in advance. I knew when the year 2021 started, like all of the music was people were looking, for pick me up from the last year of because no one dropped anything in November and December, you know. But yeah, and so I just tried to drop single video, single video, single video. And yeah, I'm gonna continue to try to do that too. I like the visual aspect of things. I think that was heavy for me. I thought people, I don't know, like me, I just care about visuals when I listen to songs. So I want to do the same thing.
Yeah, I love visuals too. It's so interesting when a single comes out or an album comes out and you listen to the tracks and you're like, I wonder what visuals would be paired with this, because you obviously have an idea in your mind of what you're visualizing when you're listening to music, but then seeing the artist's vision when that video comes out for that song that's been in your head, it's really really interesting to see. I've always loved music videos and being able to pair visuals with the song. And I also think it's super dope that you started doing music when you were 12. That's just
Yeah,
incredible.
it was a lot of people pick up a guitar or go to like lessons, and I tried, but I wasn't honestly that good at it. So I just started making songs. Like I was making songs from a young age. I was making like EDM music for a sec, but yeah, it's just like my own music. I never did like the cover thing, or I don't know. Maybe that's for the worst. I don't know, but
Yeah. That's cool. And like we were saying before, like you're experimenting, you're figuring out your sound and what you like and what works and all of that. So I think that's really cool that you discovered your passion so young, because some people it takes forever, as I'm sure you know.
yeah, everyone
Um,
finds it.
yeah, and I want to go back to what you were saying about collaborating and enjoying the process of collaborating. What do you have in the works like coming up since we're coming out of the pandemic? Are you looking to maybe tour or
Yeah,
any of that?
I have a few. So I mean, I have like three shows. I have a show in June, July, August, actually, and September, all in Utah. So I guess just like a little home tour is the what I would say the length of it. I am looking for openings for shows and such, but nothing on the books yet. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, as for collaborations, I have a song with my sister dropping very soon, and then I'm gonna have one with an artist called the China Blue, who's out in Rhode Island, I guess. And then I have a few other songs that I'm honestly not sure when dropping, but they're with artists that I'm insanely excited about. So yeah, I'm stoked.
That's sick. I'm excited for you because a lot of artists, they're just now being able to push out their music and get out there like they like to do. They like to get in front of their fans.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited that you're able to do that now, and this year is really picking up. It's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it.
So that was pretty much all I had. The last thing I sort of wanted to ask, Finesse Media is an e-learning platform for artist development and everything related to creatives and people trying to get into the music industry. So I wanted to ask, from your perspective, what is some good advice you could give to someone trying to get into music, or any tough lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, I like I would just really ask yourself, why you're doing it at first. And if you really want to like for me, my reason is I love music. I love making music, right? My joy is in the making of the music. Um, and I know that if I want to continue to do that throughout my life, I have to make some sort of sustainable income off of it in some way. But and I think if you understand that, you know, going into it in that sort of perspective where it's like, I love making it and I want to live off this, and I also want to make this benefit for my fans to me to my fans, and have it go both ways. I think once you all understand all that, you can start looking at it like, all right, your first object should probably be like getting a good distribution deal, you know? And your second object should be like, all right, let me plan out now, like how am I gonna roll out all these songs? You should have like, to me, I say like 20 songs just on the side that are all good, just to pitch to a distribution company. Um, but yeah, I think that would be honest advice. I think the distribution deal is where it all starts. I think if you can lock that down and then make a plan for like a year, I think you'll do pretty well. I think a lot of people have talent. I think a lot of people just don't plan it out.
Exactly. And I was just talking about something similar to that with a different artist where he was saying basically, if you're working on your plan B, like if you're trying to make sure your plan B is good, your plan A is not going to work. So you kind of have to put your whole self into it and take it seriously. Like you were saying, plan it out, make sure you're getting all your ducks in a row. And distribution is super important because without that, how is anyone going to access you or your music? So
Yeah,
so
it's important.
definitely.
It was definitely the change for me back in November.
Yeah, it's super important. So I'm glad you touched on that because for people trying to join the industry who may see this, it's super important that you make sure that the music is great, of course, but making sure that the back end is also taken care of as well, so that you have, that 360 I'm all
Exactly.
set type thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was all I had. Thank you so much. It was so nice
Yeah,
to meet you
it's
and
great to
get to talk to you. I love your sound, and I'm gonna listen to many more of your tracks once we're done. I've heard quite a few though before. But yeah, keep it going, and I wish
Sure.
you the best of luck with everything you're putting out. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
You. I appreciate you, and yeah, it was great chatting with you today.